I think one of the things is just to make a point that it's not just birds we're seeing. You know, like we talked about the otters, but we see beavers. I've seen a bear
Have you?
one time.
I could tell, one of my favorite stories is the time that we had a preschool group from Elk River out, and then the morning we had seen a bull snake. And then I thought, oh, I just hope we see one in the afternoon. And it's
Sue,
like,
I
well,
would've running.
no, they more likely run from you. I have a couple bull
Oh, they
snake
hissed at
stories,
us.
but we
Oh,
went
like
out
those
there and it's like, I'm sorry, we haven't found a bull snake yet, but we hope the kids would get a kick out of seeing that. And then teacher was in front of me on the trail. This was at the Burr Oak Welcome Station, the first stop on the wildlife drive, and she said, well, what's that in the grass? I said, oh my gosh, it was two bull snakes mating. So, like 3 feet off the trail. I mean, so you could, and they're kind of in the grass, but you could see what it was.
You
And,
got more than you wished for.
and then some little kid said, are they hurting each other? And so we did a little
dance.
about, no, they're just fine.
They're hugging.
But that's what that story's kind of fun to tell.
Oh my gosh.
I got another one too. So I was a first-time volunteer, and we were meeting. This was a 7th grade class, and the volunteer. We had a young volunteer who was really good at handling whatever snakes. He knew all about birds, so. He, oh God, here's one. He got it right before it went down the gopher hole, and he held it up, and the teacher said, "Oh wow, I've never held a bull snake, and I hold it." And the volunteers saw that, it was like 6 feet long,
Yeah.
and she ran for the parking lot. I think maybe she came back another time, but that just about did in her volunteer service.
Well, and they're like, paper towel roll thick
Yeah,
at
yeah.
least.
It's disgusting. Sorry.
oh.
Well, and they do pretend to, because they're scared, they don't want people bothering them, so they can curl up, and if there are dry leaves nearby, they can wiggle their tails, so it makes a noise like a rattlesnake.
But I've had one hiss at me too. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
But
They're not poisonous, right?
no.
No, but their bite can be bad.
Yeah.
Our vet said, don't let your dog get bit by them because they're really hard to dislodge.
Yeah, they
most
have good
likely,
fangs.
you might most likely will be bringing the dog in with the
snake.
snake attached to it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh
so
my gosh.
the vet I talked to said he'd actually gotten bit as a child and ended up with surgery because it was embedded in his leg.
Wow.
You just won't let go, huh?
Yeah,
kind-
don't go by him.
Got it. All right.
Oh my,
Wear
I'm
boots.
scared of the cartoon snake on the old Disney Robin Hood.
Yeah.
If I see a snake this big, I am.
Well, I was walking on the wildlife,
My
not the
heart
wildlife
just
trail,
races.
but the trails by the schoolhouse or by the learning center and down by the lake. And I was walking, and you know how they put the black stuff down underneath the gravel, and I saw this thing in the gravel, and I thought it was just the black stuff. My dog was a little ahead of me, but I was like, okay, grabbed the dog and I started walking up to him. All of a sudden, it's shh, and I'm like, okay, stay there. I actually have a picture of it somewhere on my phone.
Oh,
Because
that's cool.
Because I managed to get a picture. Same thing with the bear. We were driving on the wildlife drive, and we came around a corner by Little Blue Pond,
Little blue stem?
yeah, Little Blue Stem. And we came around that corner, and my husband looked at me and said, "Look!" And it was coming, just kind of walking towards the road, and we stopped, and it kind of turned and looked at us and went, "Okay, I'm going the other way." But I
But you
mean,
spotted it. Cool.
yeah, but we had never seen one on the wildlife drive before. So sometimes you see things on the wildlife drive.
Like a black bear.
Yeah,
Is
it was a
Yeah.
black bear. And the interesting thing is too, is that, one of the things right now, you can still see our cranes with their colts, their babies.
Yeah.
And you can see the trumpeter swans with their babies.
Yeah. Those
And,
are so cool.
and especially if you go out on unfortunately, especially if you go out on the Woodland Drive, on the Woodland Drive and get out to the end, there's a couple ponds right back there, and they seem to like that spot. That's where I've seen them a lot. But I took my grandsons recently because my grandsons come up and they love going to the refuge. So at least a couple times a year, when they come up, they'll be like, "We're going to the refuge today?"
Oh, that's neat.
And my youngest grandson is only 6, and last time he came up with his own binoculars. And he was really disappointed because we didn't go the one day. So the next day, that night, he was like, "Grandma, when are we going to the refuge?" So the next morning, I got them both up pretty early and said, "Okay, we'll go because it's early enough. The bugs won't bug us." And he was in that front seat, just kind of going back and forth, going, "I love this."
Yeah.
Well, that's what you have to do. You really have to go out, you have to be in nature to see these miracles. That reminds me, of something, a quotation from Rachel Carson. What if you had never seen this before? What if you knew you would never see it again? And so it's like, snakes aren't my thing either, but to see, how often does somebody see bull snakes mating? Or,
Or black bears.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
The deer, the
Yeah.
swans, the
Yeah.
otters.
Yeah.
What other animals could you find out there?
I think we could say you definitely see beavers, raccoons, otters, pheasants, rabbits, although I've never seen a rabbit out there. I'm sure we have them. I just haven't seen them.
Yeah,
Turtles?
you see
Turtles?
Yeah,
turtles for sure, coyotes. You rarely, the only time I think I've seen a coyote was during the Christmas bird count, kind of middle of December, and was walking across the ice near the learning center, but, because a lot of the animals more go out at night. You might see a fox. Or the other thing, you don't always see the animal, but you see signs of them. And so that's one thing we talk about when students visit. Well, what if you don't see the animal? How might you know they've been here? Well, tracks, scat. Like with turtles, unfortunately, we find a lot of turtle nests that have been dug up by, skunks or whatever, and the eggs look like kind of ping pong balls. Somebody poked a hole in and they squished.
Yeah, it's kind of sad because the turtles used to be pretty prevalent out there, and I've noticed, especially the last few years, it's rare when I see one. And I think somebody was saying in one of the board meetings, if you do see a turtle, don't post it with the location.
Yeah.
Because people come out and actually get the turtles and then try to sell them.
Especially Blandings turtles.
Yeah. And
Wow.
so you don't, I mean, they'll take it and try to sell them.
Wow.
And
It's like the local market or something, or like, hey, Joe's fish store. Like,
Like out of state sell them, or?
I don't know where they're
Like
selling them. I
market?
just know that was one of the things they said is please don't, we want to tell people not to post where they saw it. They can say Sherburne County
Has
or
them,
the wildlife refuge. We saw this at the wildlife refuge, but don't post the exact location.
Right.
Because you don't want them to go there.
Terrible.
save the turtles.
But I remember when we first moved to Princeton, we would drive through the wildlife drive and there'd be 5 or 6 or 7 of them in a row. And I haven't seen that in ages as I keep knocking into things. Sorry.
Well,
So
I-
tell
I-
us